Welcome to Tech at Lunch, the podcast that satisfies your hunger for all things tech while you enjoy your midday meal. So grab your sandwich, tune in, and let's dig in. Hello, Nick.
Hey, I'm John.
And, this week we're going to talk about Cobot innovation. We're going to go through and kind of look at, the history of industrialized robots to the modern day Cobot, and kind of really a lot of stuff in between. Um, you start looking at the different type of STEM robots and stuff like that that's out there. You start looking at the robot vacuums if you really want to get into the definition of a
Hmm.
robot. Um, you know, how
I
robots have
like that.
became mainstream. Um,
Yeah.
so, if you think about it, industrial robots were made out of necessity.
Yeah. How do we
And
make it faster and better?
the other thing is they were made for actually for employee safety at one point. Um, they were made the first one that we're seeing, that we know of at least. Um, the first documented one, I guess you could say, is 1937. They were using one to stack boxes, but it was rudimentary. Um, the first official industrial robot working to answer a common problem was actually done by General Motors.
Yeah.
Um, General Motors in '69 had a six-axis robot. Um, for the first time, we partnered with MIT and everybody created one of these things. Um, in a system called Puma. Um, and they used it to actually pull molten metal out of a forge.
Well,
Um,
Puma. You said Puma's the robotics language.
Yep,
Okay.
they marketed it as Puma. So it's the Programmable Universal Machine for Assembly.
Okay. Okay.
And they used it to, pour molten metal and pull molten metal out of incendiary forges to make engine blocks. So,
I mean, yeah, because you're making those in one casting, right? So your
right.
cast that's like very difficult and very like it's being close to that heat. Like that does something to I mean, you start cooking. We're not supposed to be around that heat, and you could catch fire. It's a very dangerous environment doing that yourself. So it makes sense having a robot do it. I mean, robot. A lot of people think about it as a replacement, right? Um, it's more of of an increase in efficiency and helping your output. You said necessity, and that's, I mean, absolutely correct. I need to make more. I need to make them faster. I need to make them more precise. Um, and then when you take that person who is drilling every bolt or like hammering the steel or whatever the case, and you make them just check what they already know what good looks like. They just verify the work. Like you are able to output so much more production no matter what the the, the part that you have. And um, the term like cobot, like I think very important to think about, like a collaborative robot. um, we want to make sure that we're not making people scared about losing their jobs to robots
Mhm.
or anything like that. We need the robots to be able to make more, but machine learning is still a thing. AI is not where these things can adapt um, by themselves at a
No
certain point
Skynet.
to learn. Yeah, there's no Skynet, so we are there's programmers are needed. Languages are getting easier and not difficult to make. A lot of templates are making things easy. I mean, it's just becoming more widespread, or no matter what industry you're in, right? So I think that's, you said GM's who where it kind of started out, like
Yep.
automotive.
Yep. General
Um,
Motors and then spread to ABB, KUKA, and then then it formed. They have General Electric and GE and sorry, General Motors, that eventually worked with the joint venture called Fanuc, who
Hmm.
came the Fanuc family of robots and all the other stuff. But, like you said, the programming of these things have gotten so much easier than having to sit there and, trying to joggle a robot to what you want it to do. We've gotten to the point now where it's programmed with words, do this to do this. And you build the blocks. So each block line is going to be the robot language. As we move into the future, it's how they work, and how they're changing. We're seeing that in the industrial scale, or the semi-industrial scale. Um, but the thing is, like you said, we're not, vouching for them to take people's jobs. We don't want that. I would rather have a robot in a situation where repetitive use injuries happen instead of having a human being in there.
Yeah.
If I had, if my company was making, product at a volume that required robots and I had human beings doing it, I'd feel bad because I could bring the robot in there or the robots in there and, build what I got to build and promote the people who have been working there longer to do robot-based STEM jobs, to do mechanical inspection jobs, to do quality inspection jobs, and be able to pay them a higher rate.
Hmm. Because you're able to produce that much more, right? Like
Right,
it's sharing the workspace with the robot is kind of where a lot of us are going. Like s- so we also need to broaden what people think of the robot that's going to be working for you, or the cobot, I should say, that's going to be working with you. Sometimes it's as simple as that this robot goes and picks up this part and brings it to me every 30 minutes. That
right,
sometimes that's all you need, I just need this set of parts for, so that I can put this. It takes me 30 minutes to assemble, and I have to assemble everything by hand. That's absolutely fine. You're still going to have the quality of a handmade or a hand assembled part, but this robot's going to make sure that you're able to make the next part that much quicker.
right. And the thing is, and it's something that um, we can do. Like what I saw at the show. What I saw at Automate is we have cobots that are on AGVs that go and pick up, you know, boxes and stuff like that and brings them back and puts them back where puts them to a location and carries them on the way. Um, again, repetitive use injury. They can pick things up, move them around, and then you come and grab them with a forklift or whatever later. Even that you can automate. But, you know, the thing is using them to your advantage. Mind you, when we're talking industrialized robots, there's two. If you hear industrial robot, you're not sharing the same space with it. Um, those
Yep.
things that they don't. If they make contact with a human being, that human being now goes everywhere. Um, it was here, then now it's everywhere.
The
Not
speed and weight of that thing, yeah, makes sense
right.
that
You know,
you got
you're
light
you're
curtains.
you're losing a little bit of weight. Put it that way. Um, now with a cobot, cobots are very safe. Um, cobots have sensors in them. They don't move that fast. They don't move as fast as their bigger brothers are. Um, and if they bump somebody and somebody's working in their space, guess what? It stops and it waits. You trigger it when you want it to move again. Or you reach up, you tap it to hold it in its current position while you work on something, then tap it again to restart it. Eh,
Yeah.
You know, that stuff you see in like the welding cobots and stuff like that, where it's like, hey, tap, let me readjust this, start over.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, like there's a whole bunch of robots. Like we use big machines and things like that, but like have you when's the last time do you remember getting an X-ray? Um what kind of some of the things they had to do like last time I went I was I mean about a decade ago broke my wrist, and we went in there. They put the iron apron on you, right?
Hmm.
You hold your hand a certain way, this way, that way. But they had to go behind a machine and then wait and say, hit a button, okay, and hit a button, okay, and then come readjust and do it again over and over. That I mean, that machine that's giving me an X-ray to me is a cobot.
Yeah,
Like it's
it's a
doing
robot.
something that you can't do. Yeah, it's like it's working collaboratively with that doctor or nurse or whomever, um, to achieve a goal.
Right.
So
And the thing is we also see where the term robot is used very open-endedly.
yeah,
The vacuum robots, or the mopping robots. Um, that's a very open term um, for something that's not considered a robot, but
right.
maybe considered a robot in some atmospheres.
It's automated, isn't it? Yeah, I mean,
Well, yeah,
it's close to, like, give it a couple um blades on it and it's a battle bot.
yeah, 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 true.
So
And the newer ones are getting better and better, and they make a STEM package where people can learn how to mess with them and stuff like that.
that's cool.
And
Y-
you can buy the six-axis robots on Amazon. I mean the STEM robots at least. The small little baby ones to get people really started in it. So, the thing is, it's the ability to let kids use them and play with them and learn them is something that I foresee, hopefully, in our lifetime, picking up steam.
Yeah, I don't think that very many high schools or anything like that have robotics groups or clubs or are able to show anything. You kind of get there if you get to technical school, depending on what area you're from. Some areas maybe have the availability, but you know, growing up, I didn't get a chance to see inside a factory or to understand you know, what kind of went on with some cobots or robots. I mean, I lived near a Volvo like semi truck plant, so they definitely were, there being worked on, right? But I it's hard to know that that's something that I would want to be a part of without experiencing it, right?
Yeah. And, I think that we need to start seeing, the give back, of the manufacturing environments. Not give back as far as money or anything like that, but give back as time. Time doesn't cost you anything.
Yeah.
Time's factored in, especially if you're salary. Um, Time's factored in. But, you know, the the industry needs to start giving back a little bit more. The robot industry, what I've been seeing at, all the shows I've been to and that we've been to, they're giving back. The organizations are giving back. They're trying to get more people interested in it. But
Yeah,
the teachers can only take back so much information.
that's true. That's true. And it also helps being closer because I think most of them are like um, local initiatives that maybe the school did, but it's very, very seldomly do I see like it's like one school won a chance to go to the competition, right? Instead of like, come on, let everybody get a little bit of the experience. So maybe have a competition or something that teaches them to be makers or works with them. I know that Lego robots or Lego robotics is a thing that the university I went to, UNCW, did. So they were able to facilitate a lot of that stuff. But you see, it gets to the point of the convention or a point of the university before like kids are involved, and at some points that's too late, you know?
Right. It's like, Purdue, we have a um a manufacturing lab, there so people can learn, smart manufacturing and robotics and 3D printing and, all the other,
Yeah.
fun stuff that we talk about. However, like you said, there's very few places where you see that pre-tech college. So, we see it sometimes in robotic middle school programs, um, where a teacher has a passion for robots, passion for STEM, and says, "Hey, I'm going to start a robot club." One of the guys, one of my groups last semester, that's what he did. He was a chaperone for that, and he was a mentor for his kids' middle school
It's pretty
robot club,
cool.
and they were starting one in the high school when he goes and stuff like that. And but the thing is these robots really, on the grand scheme of things, if you get them used, aren't that expensive. It's nothing that, some of these companies that are tearing these robots out can, maybe donate a robot, a decently used robot to a school. So, or, the school can get it on a grant, um, which is probably
Yeah, it
the
only
better
hurts the
option.
dance, really, right?
Right. But the thing is set up like a small little manufacturing lab. Like use a FANUC 200 IC or ID, or use a Yaskawa Moto Mini. The smaller robots, the 1 kilogram robots. Don't use the big old 34 kilogram robot. You
Yeah,
know, I'm
that's
not
what I was
reaching through your
gonna
ceiling.
say. Exactly. Um, let me ask you this question: Do you feel like the innovation is there to where those robots that are, still sixed off robots, still valuable robots, they're getting smaller and smaller and able to like, let's say, you remember how there was for us there was a mobile library.
Hmm.
Like it was a county library that went to each school, school to school to school to school.
I
And
remember that.
like,
Yeah. I also remember the
yeah,
library cart.
yeah, okay, well, they still have that, but it's probably an app nowadays, actually.
Wow, I feel
uh,
old. Thanks.
yeah. They had cards. I went to the library not too long ago. But still, but yeah, that's something that like I would like to see
Yeah.
you think that that would be possible, like
Oh
something
yeah.
something like not, I mean, I wouldn't call it the magic school bus, but
Mm,
like that you bring experiences to everyone so that they can learn, if maybe that's something they want to learn about, maybe that's something they want to see. I mean, the tough part is funding, but you
right.
think that we're getting to a point where the robots are small enough or cheap enough for
I,
this?
I've seen a few trailers that people have built with these things, um, and stuff like that that's had the FANUC 200 IC in there or the ID of the Moto Man Mini in there. Or they would have a smidgen bigger. We can easily build um like mobile carts, and we brought them into classrooms and stuff like that. Because some of these robots now, they do run on 200 watt. However, you can actually get an inverter and kick them up from 100 to 200 watt,
Yeah, that was
or
gonna be my
230.
question, is if
S-
is the power.
However, some of the robots, like your cobots and stuff like that, will run on regular wall plug. Um,
Really?
the ones from Epson Robotics, the Epson Robotic can plug right into your wall plug without any issue and it'll run fine. Um, and the thing is they start at 13.5, so it's not that expensive for brand new. Um, and but they can be converted to run on 14-volt, which is the same power that comes out of a car battery. So they can be put on a demo cart because they're all in one. There's not a lot to them. They can be put on a demo cart and wheeled into a classroom. Um, you build an enclosure around them and you bring them in because they're not technically by design a cobot. It's just a very lightweight industrial robot, which is the same thing as the Moto Man Minis and the FANUCs. However, if you get the cobots in there that are wall plug, you still have a controller and all the other stuff attached to them. But if you put that in a cart, you can easily bring that into a classroom and plug it in.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. Like, I remember when we had the projectors and all that stuff. It's
Hmm.
not all smart boards or whiteboards, and we would have to wheel things around, and and it was just a machine you would just plug in and set up, and then it became actual projectors and stuff like that. So like, why can't it be a robot? We're getting to a point where all the transistors and chips are getting smaller and smaller every year. You know, we're able to make faster chips, which means that we're not gonna need as many transistors in the space. It's gonna make circuitry like so minimal. It's
Right.
already pretty minimal with some of the Raspberry Pis and Arduinos. So I think that we're getting to a point where why isn't this a more prevalent of a thing, right?
It's like, and this is kind of what kind of irks me a little bit, especially on that point, is things are small enough that I can build a cart or somebody can build a cart and bring it into a classroom or bring it into a lunchroom and do a career day with kids and show them kind of what's going on. Even if it's just during lunch, have it moving around and people can come and talk about what is, robotics, what is this, what is that. Because I remember, growing up when they would have people come in and they'd sit in the classrooms, they'd demo shit, or stuff, sorry. But, or, the fire department would show up and show their stuff. Or they would show up and say, you're in high school and they're doing career fairs and stuff like that. Why don't you do a STEM fair?
Yeah, yeah, that would make a lot of sense. Have a lot of these companies out. I mean, it's 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 hard because maybe some of the bigger companies aren't really looking for like searching for work, but yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you reach out to them and say, "Hey, can you demo what you have? Can you send a small robot?" And so you set up a booth. And if it's only for a day, I mean, I bet you that these guys would have a lot more fun showing that to like um, high schoolers than um, at a convention, kind
Yeah.
of rambling off the same spiel over and over.
And the thing is, a lot of the guys like Rapid had it also, but they also had Automate, which is the educational corner, where they talked about all that stuff, and they had stuff that they had integrators and stuff like that. They would bring these things to schools and set up and stuff like that. Your problem lies in the world of people don't want to do it. So at least now, so you're fighting um, for resources because you only have so many of those integrators and so many of those people who are willing to put their time in. And the demand isn't, well, the demand's there, but you have to make sure the schools want it. And that's where it goes into, why can't companies also bring these things in during the summer to show the teachers, have a STEM day with the teachers who are there and let them experience it because when they go back and start teaching their classes in the fall, then they have a way of saying, okay, cool, this is what I want to do.
Right? Like a tasting.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I
You're
mean it makes
previewing the
sense.
menu.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, they're the ones that have to stay with the kids, and they'll be the ones that get the most questions asked to them.
Right.
Right?
And that's when you make it kind of easy for the teachers to be able to say, you know, this is what, this is. So you make it kind of simple for them to respond.
So where do you think we are with So we talked a little bit about scalability and able to make them in, get them in the classrooms, but where do you think we are on cost versus benefit of the size of the robots maybe? It's I think for me it's really hard to judge,
Hmm.
but like you brought up the robot vacuum, and that made my life so much better, just having something else vacuum instead of me. Like I don't
Right.
have to think about vacuuming at all anymore. So like it's so beneficial. They're making lawnmowers that are like that too.
I saw that.
You can map out your lawn, and you can have it cut your lawn just like how um I hope it's not the pathing like the Roomba because that thing runs into everything. And you would be I please don't let the animals outside while it's cutting, because it will not care. I mean, I assume it has sensors, but better safe than sorry.
Right.
It's the last thing I want is my little robot caught the dog.
Yeah,
Then
that
we
definitely
then
wouldn't be
we'd
fun.
never we'd have to get rid of the robot, right?
Yeah, usually burn it.
Yeah, yeah. So as far as scalability, I think that we're getting to a point where these things are going to be larger and larger. But what do you think the end goal is? I mean, we talked about things being smaller for classrooms. Like, let's go on the other side of those things. How big do you think that these cobots can get or get to, um, and still be collaborative with the human, right, in the workplace?
Fanic, speaking of that, Fanic, and that's kind of where, I like how you brought that up because Fanic does have, and, I'm not a Fanic guy. However, I'm just a robot guy. But
Yep.
looking at their booth at Automate, if they have a 35 kilo holding capacity Cobot, part of their CRX line. So these
How
robots
much
hold
again?
35 kilo.
Jeez.
So, somewhere now around 35 kilo. Most of them you're up to like 15, 20 kilo. So,
You know what
that
they're
this,
mostly used for? Like automotive or
I don't know. It's kind of, an interesting environment because they can be used for anything and everything. You see them a lot for welding, a lot of stuff for them doing palletization and packing and picking and stuff like that.
warehousing
Um,
and such. Yeah.
Warehousing. I've seen videos of them being used to hold up a bicycle so people can change the tires, front and rear tires on a bicycle, at a bicycle shop.
Okay.
And they were using one of the CRX robots, I think. They're using, I think, the 7 kilogram robot. Um, and so, and you also have the smaller robots, like from KUKA. KUKA does have one. We saw it last year at Rapid,
Mhm.
in the that was running on Orbital E, from Orbital Composites, on their cart. That small little kook arm it was I think it's a KR6 or something like that. But that's a cobot.
Yeah, and that one I can't remember if that one was like you needed two phase or you were able to plug into the wall. I think we talked about that a little bit, but I don't remember what
I
the
think it's straight plug-in wall because I believe it is a 200-watt robot, so you can't put an up kick to it, coming out of the wall socket.
okay.
So, they're getting bigger. Yes, a lot bigger. Um, you have your regular, Cartesian robots, your big, 6 DOF robots, that are moving 1,000, 2,000 pounds at a time, without even thinking about it. However, like we mentioned before, those aren't collaborative robots. Um, it hits you at full speed, now you're everywhere. Um, type of robot. Um,
Mhm.
so
Yeah, no thanks. I don't want to be in the same cell.
yeah, yeah. If it hits you, you're not living on the same planet. Um, so
Dang. No thank you.
you know, um, just say you got a haircut. Um, the thing is, yes, the cobots are getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Um, so they can work alongside people, at heavier weights and stuff like that, or in an area where, safety really it's there, but you have to interact with it. Like these bigger cobots, you put them on a panel usually, and you reach up and you stack your boxes in one thing, and it will move them to someplace else. It gives you time to work around, packaging and stuff like that. Um, but we also saw it, at Automate, where it was in the Yaskawa booth, where you step on one part of, and it's a part picking robot, and it's a palletization robot, and it is a cobot. As so, if you are outside the coloring stripe, it runs at max speed. Once you step inside the coloring stripe, it goes to 3/4 speed. Once you step closer to the robot, it goes to half speed. Once you're inside its range, near its range of motion, it goes down 2/4 speed. So if you have to tap it to stop it, you can. Um, so it's also about, proper programming for these things. Um, but most of them, they can be bought and installed on your own, and, on your own in your own in your own location.
You tell me I could put this in my living room?
Probably the new ones, at least.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think that makes sense. I mean, like
gives me an
when
idea.
we
How
started
fast can we
out,
termite your cats with a laser pointer and a robot?
oh my God, they would just no. Well, the one's just gonna run until they get too dizzy and fall down and probably just crawl around a little bit. The other one doesn't have good sight in one eye, so he loses it before it go if it goes too fast. I mean, so it's a little tough,
Because you
but
can't have them hanging from the ceiling now.
no, no. But yeah, no. We've talked about the kind of the beginning of it of Cobot's robots, collaborative working together with certain robotics. Um, and we've gotten to a point where STEM has been involved and it's growing and growing. Um, do you, what do you think the future like what do you think the direction of cobots is, I guess I should say, and what do you think? I know that we've thrown out a few names, Fanuc, we've thrown out Yaskawa, Kuka, a lot of the ABB, a lot of these companies that make these six off robots, but those are big robots. They
Hmm.
do have a lot of lines of smaller robotics things, but or cobots, I mean, but where do you think like uh, I mean, I know you went to Automate recently, but where do you think that everyone's kind of trying to get to? Like, are we trying to get more robots, more robotic arms, humanoid robots, like what drones, as in like a tugger that takes and puts carts, like literally either puts containers from spot to spot, like at a shipyard, and it's automated on paths. Like I can imagine that, but I don't think that we have anything like that.
I would say we do see a large, um, probably increase in the use of AGV. Um, so, to move things around, palletization, not really palletization, but pallet moving and stuff like that. Um, so, I kind of see that coming. I also see a large, now you talk about humanoid. I see humanoid being very, very limited, but, you also see a lot of the robot arms coming into food prep. You have Flippy now that's making hamburgers. Um,
His name is Flippy.
yes, it's called Flippy. You also have the fry robot where they're using them to do frying. Um, and a lot of companies are starting to specialize in that. The food prep game. They were showing bartenders and freaking, robot bartenders at Automate. Um, I see us going more to the cobot side of the house, maybe not as because of cost, than the full-blown, six DOF robots unless you absolutely need them. I see them being more implemented into your mom and pop shops, um, that are seeing these things and getting involved in these things and wanting more of them.
So
Um,
you're saying like small to medium sized businesses are probably going to um, benefit the most off of this innovation, I'd say.
yeah, I
Or
see
is
them
that
being
what you're
an
saying?
adapter. Yeah, I see them being a good, taking them in and, adopter and stuff like that and getting really involved in these things. Um, because also it's opening up an entire, collaboration area where everybody kind of sits back and, they work together with these things, building things for them and stuff like that. Um,
No.
but, I see them coming for that. I don't, yeah, as we build more cars, and we go EV, we are going to see more purchases of the bigger battery robots, because of what they have to do. Um, and we're going to see
Yeah, to
more and
carry
more
more weight,
things.
right?
Right.
Bigger. bigger items, so it kind of boils down to what you're producing.
Right. Um, you know, and I hate to, harp on the company, but I think that, one of the companies who is taking the Cobot robot game and, kind of doinking it on its forehead, is Neuro Robotics. Um, I think because they're cognitive robots and easy to program, easy to run, easy to use. But I think that as we move forward, that's what everybody wants is a cognitive robot that
So like
learns.
it thinks. Oh, okay, I see. Like so machine learning, not necessarily AI controlled.
Right.
Maybe eventually, right? But
It's they're voice controlled. They have sight, so they can see what's in front of them, and stuff like that. And then you kind of point down and tell it to pick it up. Um, we see a lot of cobots being used in single work cells, like little welding tables and stuff like that, where you're going to be building the same piece over and over and over and over again. Um,
mm,
so I see that it's not taking away anybody's job as we implement these things. It's going to increase the need for STEM professionals to come through this. So I have a feeling that with this we're going to see an upkick in robot education. We're going to see an upkick in um, people wanting to learn about them and people to be wanting to be around them. You're going to see a lot of trade school stuff. I think probably open back up soon, um, possibly. But that's just my opinion. Could be wrong
yeah,
though.
I think it makes sense. Like your logistics and warehousing, I think will see the biggest like impact of
Oh
this
yeah,
because you're gonna be able to like what's the limit of a human? They have to rest. The
right.
robot doesn't really have to rest. I mean, preventative maintenance is a thing, but like that time for like you got to sleep 8 hours a day. That robot doesn't have to sleep 8 hours a day. Um, I mean, so at the end of the day, anything that's utilizing that wants to bring a lot more product in, and like the food and beverage industry is going to benefit because of how much more they can bring in. I mean, the population is going to get bigger. Logistics and warehousing, so companies like Amazon or warehouses like that are going to flourish if they get any type of AGVs like you're talking about. I mean, I've
Mhm.
even seen AGVs that can scale the walls, the shelves, and then go. They have railings on the shelves themselves to go pick the box, put the box away that gets called to. So it's gonna become. I bet you there's gonna be a fully automated warehouse somewhere in the near future.
That's something that did talk about at Automate. A lot of people were kind of talking about it and bringing it up. Is lights out production.
You don't need people there.
Right. Complete lights out production. There was one company that was talking about it where they had a customer that, at night they run their production lines. Maybe with a limited staff there, maybe like your maintenance guys, but that's it. And because there's everything's coming off of a conveyor belt and it's in boxes. So the robot picks it up, puts it on a pallet, puts it on a pallet, puts it on the pallet, right? So then an autumn AGV forklift comes, picks it up, brings it to another robot station, that puts everything onto a palletization, pallet to get wrapped and stuff like that. And then they pack it away. So, they actually made it where, their employees who have to work during the day only have to maybe work one or two shifts a day. They can run a first and a second shift and then they're done. Third shift is, do the bots. Um, if you think about it.
Yeah, I think that makes sense too. And I know that we were talking about not saying we could remove people from the equation. How about this? It's lights out production, but you need monitoring, like you said,
Right.
maintenance. Like that just means there's going to be more warehouses that are populated or something along those lines, right? So we're just going to have more things and think about having more products of readily available, right? So I think about a warehouse. You go up like think about if how some people shop like Instacart,
Hmm.
right? They'll shop. You can get people to shop for you, Or you can do pickup. You can have Walmart pick up your items or do your items and you can pick them up for you. Think about if you put that in there and a robot packed your bags, right?
Yeah,
And then all you have to do is drive by and pick it up, right?
yeah, that
It's that simple. You
that's
don't even
something.
need to walk into the warehouse. Everybody just kind of lines up. It'll look like a Chick-fil-A line out there. And you just pick up your groceries. You don't have to do the walking around part. You see the entire inventory on the app, and you just get your groceries as they go. I mean, I think that that's kind of how things worked whenever COVID was like in full swing and everything was kind of shut down, but they still wanted quote unquote essential workers.
Hmm.
Cause the Walmart by my house has 20 spots for pickup, and I only ever see one person there. So I don't
The
think it's used much
I'll say this:
anymore.
COVID was probably the best thing when it came down to, you know, I guess you could say inventions. Um,
You saw how humans will innovate to get a way or around a problem that they see.
right. And we did see a little bit of robot upkick, during that time because why? Robots don't breathe. Um,
Yeah, they don't.
they don't get sick. Um,
Exactly.
on occasion they may crap themselves and frickin' flu goes everywhere, but that's just beside the point. Tomato,
Yeah,
tomato.
that's different. That's different.
So, and I think that's why we saw the rise in, well, Flippy.
Yeah, yeah. Flippy is good.
It,
Flippy makes sense.
they're now the thing is I have to laugh because they were using it at a White Castle. Um, world's smallest burgers to a robot. And they also have the fry robots, like I said. But the thing is that all came out of COVID because they couldn't get somebody to work because of shutdowns and stuff like that. So why not implement a robot? Let the robot do it. Now, it's been proven, through stuff I've watched through that it doesn't remove the human out of the equation. The human still has to load the fry baskets. It gets the human out of the burn zone.
Yeah, out of danger.
Right.
Yeah, somebody's got to take orders. Somebody's got to make sure customers are getting things, But a lot of this stuff can be automated, and they don't
Yeah.
necessarily need to be forward customer-facing automation, right?
Right. Exactly. It could be back of house and stuff like that. And, the thing is then the back of house guys now become robot programmers for food,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
that'd be an interesting job title.
Well, that's the thing too. Like, I think that we've had this conversation before where we say, like, um, the assembly line is uh higher output, lower quality, right? Just because you're making it so rapidly.
Hmm.
Um, I think that you're able to get some of that quality back with a lot of cobots and things like that. You're able
I
to
can see that too.
yeah, you're able to wrench it back and keep your production high while keeping your quality high. I mean, I think that at the end of the day, if we get a quality product, I think hopefully that obsolescence isn't planned obsolescence isn't a thing that a lot of companies do. I know that they were doing that in the light bulb industry where they were making light bulbs last a certain amount, and now we've got LEDs, so that's kind of around we've got around that, so those last a lot longer. But I I'm saying we have so many companies innovating cobots and pushing the same topics and the same products that it makes sense that we get to a point where we have um, the humanoid robots like you spoke about before. We have we have manipulators at our plant or our workplace. I mean, those are things that like make sense to me too. And if you have a cobot that's also a manipulator, like why not? So like we're getting to a point where we're just going to be able to have much more available. We're going to hopefully decrease the time you need for the worker to be anywhere near a dangerous zone, things like that. And I think that yeah, I like the outcome of cobots
Yeah.
and any industry, automotive, aeronautics, retail, food, beverage, logistics, everything, um, seems to be making moves in the right direction.
I have to agree with that. And I think that, they're definitely, circulating and going the right way. We also see the fact that, I think the only downside that they have is software.
Yeah.
They after a while they're no longer going to be the right software for controllers that are so far out of date. So you don't get any updates for the new stuff. However, you can go buy a 10-year-old robot, 15-year-old robot, and it's still going to work. You can go buy a 30-year-old robot with a little bit of tweaking, it'll work. Might not work well, but it's going to work. Because it's on older, software. It'd be a different learning curve, put it that way.
Yeah.
But, the thing is I don't see them being a throwaway piece. Like you said, we should see quality, improve. Hopefully with that we'll get Ryan's back. Sorry, I like Ryan's. Um,
Yeah, I'm sad. They still have the buildings out here. They're just sitting
yeah,
there.
yeah. I do miss eating at a. I do like Orion's buffet. I don't know why. I guess it was just the biscuits, but the bread. Um, but
Well,
the thing is I don't see it becoming soon to be 100% automated Chick-fil-A that can actually be open on Sunday. Um,
right?
be,
You don't have people working. You have robots. It's perfect, and we all get the chicken.
right,
I think this is a win-win.
you know,
What's Chick-fil-A's number? We need to
right,
we need to talk.
or we'll see the resurgence of Burger King. Um, the back to their prominence. You already got people making mechanically separated chicken, so I'm pretty
Hmm.
sure that the uh robot making your food really isn't too far of the question.
No,
You
no,
know,
that makes a lot of sense.
it's like those people eating the freaking what is it, the dinosaur shaped chicken nuggets. Those don't
Yeah.
come as dinosaurs. I don't never seen a dinosaur based chicken. Um,
Hey man, don't
so
kill my dream. Okay.
if they're worried about robots making their food and they're eating that, I guarantee you a robot's already been in it.
Yes. Anybody eating chicken nuggets? Yeah, 100%. There is one thing I didn't think about too that I think we didn't really talk too much about, and it's healthcare, like assisting with surgeries and physical
Oh
therapy
yeah.
and things like that. I mean, that just seems like its use is endless. Like everybody wants to do, um, like once the to get better or the physical therapy to go by faster. I mean, there it is.
Yeah.
Have a cobot.
We've seen them already in surgical rooms. You see them where, the doctors are using microscopic tools or endoscopic tools. Um, you got robots doing with a human controlling them, doing full knee replacements. Um, you know, and then you have some of them that are mapping the points in people's backs for back surgery, and stuff like that. So, the robots are there. You already have um, robot-assisted dental replacements or teeth replacements. Saying that.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I think the difficult surgeries or repetitive tasks or things that you need like high precision in that kind of increase the workload on the doctors, dentists, things like that. If you have the robot there with them, yeah, it's just gonna be able to like you keep that doctor, dentist going that much longer. More people get helped. It's an overall win for the community, you know.
And I think we're going to see a lot of use in cobots and AGVs when it comes down to nursing care because a lot of nurses you got to be there to pick these people up and move them and stuff like that. If you have to move them from one location to another, why not use a robot for that? Or some sort
Yeah.
of assist device from a robot, that can supply that lifting force to not injure a nurse and not injure the patient.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Shout out to all the nurses out there. I didn't realize how much certain situations, especially the situation that America's in, how hard it is in some of those places to just to help do normal activities.
Yeah,
Uh,
we definitely raise one deal. I have friends who are nurses. My cousin's a nurse.
yeah, my
Friends'
sister just
family's nurse.
graduated nursing school, so yeah,
You know,
it's a good business. It's a very important profession we need. So
exactly.
thankful for them.
It's and the thing is, you're going to see robots get involved and help them out of hope. Um, it's one of my friends, the far family friend. So I hope that there's a way that they can support, which is that she's part of the what is it, transplant unit in New
Oh,
York. So, we hope that, that's something that, those robots can, get involved in and support, um, somehow, some way. But, I think medical is for everything. I think the long, um, the long shot is, the moon shot because no one wants to make something that could end up killing somebody. In the long run, there's a lot of risk, but the reward that you get for helping change somebody's life and improve a profession at the same exact time is one where the risk might be worth the reward.
yeah, it makes sense. Makes sense. I mean, we don't. I mean, personally, I don't know enough about the medical realm of where cobots are actually applied, but for me, the uses seem to be so huge. So I think that if anybody's listening that is involved in the medical field or anything like that, and you know of automation or robotics like this, like give us a shout. I think we'd be interested in chatting about it. To be honest.
Yeah, I would definitely love to look it up, and be involved in it, just, talk about it because, it's going to help, us learn more, and, maybe, if anything, maybe we can give you all some ideas of how to use your robot, to kind of, save things and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
we can only hope, and we can only hope that, we preach the use of robots for good. Yes, we do use them um, for things that aren't. Well, they're good for certain things. Um, you know, we do use them in warfare and stuff like that. We do use them in demining operations, which is, always good. Use them to find IEDs and to keep our troops safe out in the field. Um, but we can only hope that, those good things keep coming to help save to, support a population, especially demining efforts, through, areas of, where there's current, ongoing conflict like Ukraine and stuff like that, where, people are out volunteering to demine areas to help return things back to some sort of normalcy and using robots for that. Um, or the bomb bots is what they call them. So, we can only hope that, we keep using robots for, the greater good, I guess you could say.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, everything is going to be more interconnected. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things that I didn't realize would be, um, connected to any type of electronics when I was younger. So, smart mirrors and things like that. People have a whole bunch of smart devices that we really didn't have a lot as like just 10 to 15 years ago. We didn't have a lot. So, um, like it's growing in the right direction now. I think that industry tends to connect to commercial, residential over time. So I think that we're getting there too. So I bet you're gonna have a type of cobot in your house as well at some point. And I bet in some places, some assisted living facilities, they probably have a cobot or two.
Yeah,
Think about the what um, the chair that they use to ramp upstairs if you can't climb the stairs or you're in danger of falling down the stairs.
yeah,
Like that's
or an
already
elevator and
assisted. Yeah.
self-rescue.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. So. Yeah, I think in the future I mean we also could get on the space topic too, but I think we've touched a lot of what cobots are being, how they're being applied. Some of the possibilities, and kind of we talked about where they started. So yeah, I mean, we've covered a lot of it. I bet we could get more in detail on some of these things, but yeah, we for space. I think that
Mm.
would be we could probably we'll go down a big deep dark rabbit hole if we talk about cobots in space.
Yeah, that's when it's how many days do you have? Um,
Yeah.
because that's how that's gonna go.
I mean,
Um,
technically, the entire planet of Mars is only populated by robots.
this is true. Well,
So,
so is the moon at this point.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, only
or
populated by robots.
populated by everybody else's craters and them trying to attempt to get robots on the face of the planet. Um,
Debris.
yeah, debris. No robots, just debris. Um, you know, if you think about it, we're the first species to send a robot past freaking the edge of space. If you think about it, with the satellites talking back still from the early 80s. So
Yeah, is Voyager still going?
yep, she is still out there clunking around. It takes them what 24 to 48 hours to send a message.
Yeah, it gets longer every year, every day.
Yep. So because it's now in interstellar space. So it's the first robot to reach interstellar space. Sooner or later we're gonna hear it come back, say, "Danger, Will Robinson." Um,
Yeah, yeah.
you know,
Someone else returns it back to us, we got a problem.
yeah, exactly. Um, you know, then there might be some different conversations happening. Uh, but I think that does it for tonight. Um, and we hope that everybody gets a kick out of this type of stuff, the stuff that we're talking about, stuff that you hopefully you find useful. I looking at the numbers, I want to say thank you to the 2,491 of you that's actually listened to us, across the globe. And, for me, it's, absolutely insane. It's really cool to see kind of where people are listening from, places that, we've never been, people we've never talked to, but, we're able to reach out to y'all. Um, so I want to say thank you. Go take a look at some of the stuff that we're doing on the blog. Hopefully we'll get that done. We did revamp the website, so go take a look at vulcanar.com. Um, and see what you think. To go take a look at Printed Heritage if we can help you there. We'll be revamping some of that portion of that here eventually, hopefully. So, but I just want to say
Hmm.
thank you. And hopefully y'all got some out of it. Hopefully you get as much enjoyment as we get out of you. Um, so again, just want to leave you with a thank you. All right, what you got?
Yeah, I always echo Nick here. I'm appreciative to even have a platform. We've got people listening, so like if you get anything out of this, it's just only for the love of the game, pretty much. At this point, we like talking about these topics. We like asking questions on things, and that kind of sparks our own investigations and things like that. So, if you're curious or there's any point that you have no idea what we're talking about, that's totally fine, but that's what you should use as a kind of a jumping off point to kind of hopefully you get some maybe something that's interesting to you. So that's the only thing. I challenge you pretty much to challenge yourselves and learn something new, something difficult, maybe something you've been avoiding. Yeah, and I also request you kind of take a peek at the blog. The website's new, so it'd be nice to get some fresh eyes on that, see how it looks and things like that. Printed Heritage and places like that. So yeah, I think that it would be a good. We'd be very appreciative if you guys check that out. And it's kind of the best way to support us. So if you guys want to support us, that's kind of where I would go. So once again, we appreciate it, and yeah, stay tuned for the next one.
All right, y'all. You have a good one.
That's all for this episode of Tech at Lunch. Thanks for tuning in and joining us for this tech-filled lunch break. We hope you enjoy the show, and don't forget to subscribe on all channels. And also, you can find us on YouTube under Vulcanar Technology Solutions. And join us for our next episode, which gets published every Wednesday at 8 a.m. All right, y'all. Have a good one. See you later.